Hey everyone, this is Jason again with the Empire Axe marker. So, I'm going to go ahead and do a video on something that I just picked up today that they just released, so of course. And there it is. We went ahead and we got the Virtue Board OLED for the axe marker. And so far I do have to say it's a big improvement. I mean, out of the box, this thing shooting so much more faster, so much more smoother without even doing adjustments, so definitely pretty cool. Now, if you watched my other videos that I made when I picked up the good old-fashioned Virtue board for the axe, it would not work because basically what I believed is the programming in the board was not communicating with the eye board and the solenoid board. So, but with this one, I had no problems. So the interesting thing is here's the tin it comes in. Now, of course, it has the brown sticker that says Virtue Axe. Now, if we peel this back, they're using the same box of the original Virtue Axe / Mini. But I think Virtue finally got in their heads that the mini boards on some of the axe markers were not working correctly. So we are going to cover a couple things on this video. Couple little tweaks you want to do if you do decide to get this board. Now, this board is kind of expensive. I do know that for a fact. So if you want this board, definitely save up for it. So a couple things I am going to show you. Go ahead and get this cover off here. Is the first thing you want to do is with your battery, as you can see what I did, you want to run it, or the battery harness, I'm sorry, you want to run it behind the battery. There's a little foam strip right here in front of my my fingernail, sorry about that. The battery harness can sit right there and it won't damage anything, so you'll be good. Next thing you want to do is with you can kind of see the gloss, get a very thin strip of Scotch tape and just very lightly put it behind the actual OLED board. That's just going to keep it from bouncing around when you have to take the cover off and on. It's going to help out a lot. Now, the first thing you're going to notice when you're trying to put the screw into this thing, it's going to be mission impossible. Let me show you a little trick. Here is the stock cover, and if you notice, the stopper is gone. Remove the stopper. Does not, take a lot of force. Be careful with it. You don't want to rush and break it. Pick up a tube of Loctite super glue control gel, and all you want to do, let me see if I can do this without not taking this part too much, is there is the gripper from the stock board. I put one drop of Loctite on there, installed it, problem solved, we're good to go. Now, there's a lot of wires tucked inside of the top right here. So when you install this, definitely take your time. You don't want to rush. I cannot stress enough, take your time. I took about 30 minutes to install this board. You do have a capacitor right there you want to be careful of. Once you get everything installed, you have a good gap right up in here. Kind of very lightly tuck the excess wires in there. You'd be golden. So we'll go ahead and put that right back on, and as you can see, let me get this lined up here for you. And it's just like your stock cover, you do have the little groove on top that you have to mesh up perfectly. Alright, come on, pop on. There we go. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed, so I do apologize for the bad angles. Now, I'm just going to turn on the board. Unfortunately, because the lettering is so small, you won't really be able to see what it's saying. But the cool thing with the OLED board, it's going to go away. You get the mode you're in, your BPS, your battery life, and even your lube monitor, which I thought was really cool on the OLED system. Now, let me go ahead, turn the eyes off. That's the cool thing. If you've ever had a Virtue board before, a lot of times, like the Ball Blanc 2K5, there was two buttons, one turn off, one to turn on, the eyes, and all that good stuff. With this one, you just hold it, okay, power off. So basically the way this board works now, cycling procedure, is hold it down, you get into the original boot up screen, turn the eyes off, hold it down for about 3 seconds, and with the eyes off, let's go ahead and watch this bar. That's actually your rate of fire bar. So as you can see, this board definitely, gets up and goes quick. Now, I have already had the chance to take it outside, shoot it. I went through about 5 pods, and this thing just uncontrollably ripped. I mean, I had no problems, no skipping, no hiccups, just the gun just kept up remarkable. So, of course, I know the one question everyone's going to ask me, what settings do you have it on? So, of course, all my guns are set to semi only. I never play anything but semi. The max BPS is 15 balls a second. All the fields, that's like the maximum you can go now. You don't need to go any faster because all it takes is, one ball and you got the person out. Now, my eye malfunction, I put on 15, of course, just to show you how quick this can go. With your eye malfunction, I do recommend taking it down to 7 or 8, just in case. Now, my dwell or my D-well, whichever way you want to say it, the marker comes at 7. I say leave it at 7. It shot great. The gas efficiency was there too. Now, because this is using a mini style, it does have the closing D-well or closing dwell, whichever you want to say it as. Leave that on 9. Now, the cool thing, because the way the trigger's set up, if you watch my trigger video, you can fine-tune your trigger. My D-bounce is actually at 1. This is a cool feature, the adjustment trigger sensitivity. When the marker senses that you're going, pretty high rates of fire, it will focus on the trigger to allow a smooth, you can somewhat say, communication between the board and the micro switch. Set that to the highest. You're not going to have an issue then. The mechanical debounce, I do have off. My eye delay, I was able to bring down to 1. My anti-bounce, which basically is when the hopper is running low, the board actually tells the trigger to slow down a little bit because we only have a couple balls. Just turn that off, especially if you're using a rotor or a prophecy or a velocity. You don't have to worry about that setting. Even when my balls, I only had like 3 in there, it was still shooting pretty fast. Now, of course, the anti-bolt stick I leave off. That's only because I keep my markers lubed at all time. So only turn that off if you're a lube freak like me and always want to make sure your marker's nice and clean. Other than that, like I said, this is the new OLED for the Empire Axe. It does work. So this, you should not have a problem with picking it up, dropping it in your marker, and ending it. So like I said, these do retail about $189. So it's definitely a pretty expensive upgrade. I'm not gonna lie, but if you ask me, it's pretty worth it, man. It's definitely kicks your marker up to the whole new level. Now, of course, the OLED does have several other numerous cool things that come with it. It's like 9 different breakout procedures to help you improve your game. You have PSP, Millennium, NXE, ramping. So whole bunch of fine tuning. I know I'm getting a lot of questions. Well, can you make it ramp 5 bursts with this board? Yes, you can. So definitely, I am going to recommend to pick this board up if you can. It's worth the cash. Just definitely, like we mentioned, take your time installing it. You don't want to rush, only because if you break that capacitor, you're going to have a lot of issues. So other than that, this is Jason with the Empire Axe. Thanks for watching.